Yes, welcome everyone here to the Smash Sports Show right here on Smash FM. Out here on the road here in Melbourne. Of course, we're actually down in Morwell in central Gippsland, but let's go out up to our friends up in Sydney. And of course, what a huge weekend it will be up in Sydney, especially in the New South Wales Premier League side of things. Of course, it is grand final day. Of course, played on the weekend this time around. Of course, there Kenra as well arena in Homebush, and of course we got the Central Coast Heart because in the grand final to take on the reigning champs North Shore United in that grand final. Of course, we got a very special guest joining us right now to tell us a bit about it. Thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure.
No worries. Well, I'll get you to introduce yourselves and tell us how's the preparations like to the big grand final this week.
So I'm Kirstie Fuller. I'm the assistant coach for the Central Coast Heart Opens team. Prep this week has been really good. I feel like we've ticked lots of boxes. We had our usual training session, then we did an extra one where we went and had a look at Ken Rosewell Arena and just had a little play around in there to get used to the feel of everything, because this is brand new for everyone. Like, we haven't actually ever played there before, and it's not our usual place to go to. So, a few of the girls have never experienced it, so it's a different sort of surface and different lighting and all those things. So just trying to get rid of any anxiety or any stress that we might have related to that and control the things we can control. So, yeah.
As you mentioned, that you've got a chance to train on Kenra as well. With obviously, normally you play on a Wednesday, but you're playing on the weekend this time around. So how was it like to train out there at Kenra as well for the first time? And especially you were the only one was training there at the same time, because your opponents was also training at the same time. Am I correct?
Well, yeah, the 23s team were not quite our opponents, but I think the 4 teams that are involved in the grand final on the weekend had the same ideas. So between yesterday and today, definitely managed to fit in training sessions there. So it's a really cool venue. I think it's, which is why it was created. So it's super cool that we get to do that. And it's super cool it's on a Saturday where everyone's families and fans and stuff like that can come and support it and not have to stress about going to work the next day or anything like that. So very exciting. And I think, the vibe with the team was just, there was some giggles and some excitement, and I think so it was really good to get out there and just see what it was like and get used to it, because we have a couple in our team that play there when they're with the Swifts and Giants and things like that. But there's certainly a few of us who've never been there for anything, and so it was really cool to see what it looks like, and the space and I guess picture what the crowd will be like, and all those things, which will be very different to a normal Wednesday night where there's heaps of courts going and lots of netball happening.
As you mentioned, I know I did mention your opponents, but obviously not quite your opponent, as you said, because training there with the 23s or the South Coast Blaze, who were playing, I think, before yourselves. They're at Kenra as well. How strange was it to turn up to the arena and you're sharing the same court with obviously a different opponent on the other side, even though they're playing on the 23s?
Yeah, I think the first thing that comes into mind is you go, well, you're pretty smart too, because especially for that age group, I don't think many of them would have been used to Kenra as well. And I think the other cool thing is, which, we had a photo with them and identified that, is that they are also regional. So, it's pretty cool to have 2 regional clubs making a grand final in different divisions, obviously, but still, against all these metro people and I guess Sydney teams and stuff. It's really cool that, we're in the mix there, and really competitive.
You mentioned about having a photo with them, which we'll talk about that in a moment, but did both teams share any ideas or advice to each other? Like, you're both going to be playing at different times at the same venue?
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I think, we're probably, I don't know, we're a bit secretive like that. I think both teams would be a bit more not trying to give away too many things and sort of staying in our own bubble, I think, too. They might have looked around and saw things, but I think generally we sort of stick to what we do. And if they had asked something, I'm sure the girls would have answered. But I think they're a bit the same. They probably have their plans and their focus, and I think for both of us, knowing the 23 competition, I think their game will look very different to ours, because I think, you know, the style of play with the team that they've created is different to ours as well, which is, yeah, so you probably can't use each other's knowledge too much in that regard.
So how cool was it to get a photo with the South Coast Blaze 23s after training?
Yeah, I think it's really cool. As I said, I think the fact that it's another regional team is pretty cool, and something that I think being a regional person, you feel quite passionate about and pleased with. Yeah, I think that's what we all aim for, is, you know, to show that it doesn't matter where you live, like anything's possible, and you know, you can be down there playing on Ken Rosewell Arena, where I guess the big girl netball's played with the SSN and stuff like that, and, you know, get those kind of experiences even though you live a few kilometres away, I guess.
My question I'm going to ask you then, you played every single week as this elimination final towards this grand final. So are you treating this like another game and almost like another elimination final, like you have done the last couple of weeks and done that reasonably well?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think our prep or anything has changed. It's all about routine now. It's about sticking to what we know and feeling comfortable with everything like that. So, yeah, just really sticking to the same stuff, same routines, and the same way that we view all the other teams. You know, we do our opposition analysis. We do a thorough amount of videos. We look at ourselves as well, and we also look at ourselves in terms of matchups against them, like what is our strengths, you know, what are things that we potentially need to work on. So that's sort of been our training this week, as well as probably countering and coming up with ideas for some of the things that they have that are real strengths for them too, because every team has their own, I guess, ways of playing that is effective, and things that they can put out against you that other teams might not have done. So, yeah, I think we've had a good week of that, and the girls were, I think, excited. You know, we had our last training session last night, and they were, you know, they're a bit sad as well about that, but they're also like, you know, it's nice that it's coming, and, you know, this is not so much do or die now. It's just, they're saying, this was their words, that it's just now do, you know, like, we're not dying for anything, but we just want to win, so we're just going to do it. Yeah.
So how has it been like there at the Central Coast? You know, is the community right behind you throughout this whole process?
Yeah, I felt really supported. I think, you know, we've had some big milestones in the last couple of weeks, with Maddie Taylor getting 100 games, and then Amber, the head coach, got her 100 games of coaching as well. And, you know, both of them just got so much support and congratulations on those massive achievements, which is really cool. And I think, yeah, that sort of shows like all the support that we have out there. And yeah, and I mean, we're sending a bus down for the grand final this weekend, so Central Coast Art have organised that, which is really cool as well. Yeah, so hopefully, you know, we have a good loud crowd there, I guess, to help yeah, get through that, what's going to be probably a tough game.
So how have you gone against North Shore throughout the season?
Yeah, so we've played them twice, and I'd say the first game was a bit of I think for our team, it was definitely a learning curve, and lots of things were happening in our space at that point in time. But I also think we were, you know, if you looked at us at the start of the year, you probably would have seen a fair bit of inexperience in certain areas. So we were probably a bit of an underdog at that point even. And I think since then, Amber's just done an amazing job as head coach of just creating so much growth in the team. And I just think they've come such a long way that now that we're in this position, it just shows how great she is at what she does. And yeah, so the second time we played them, we were right in it for 3/4. And I think, you know, a couple of lapses of, well, one, we didn't have a full team due to COVID and injuries and things like that. So we definitely probably needed some fresh legs, which they had. And I think that sort of sent us down by about 10 in the end. But 3/4 of it we were either leading or down by 1. So I think we take a lot of confidence from that sort of game, and we go, that's not the one you even need to win. Like you at that point, you're still building combinations, you're still getting everyone court time and just trying to figure out what's the best matchups where, and managing everything that you have going on, which is could be anything really in that week. So I think now that we've got a full healthy squad coming into Saturday, I feel confident that we're a real force against them, and I think it will be 4 quarters of good consistent netball from us. I feel like since we've played finals the first week, we've absolutely played the best we have all season, and I think that's perfect. That's peak timing to actually come out and play like that. So they've been really exciting these do or die games, and I think that's going to continue on the weekends.
I interviewed them last week about their season, and I'm going to ask the same thing with your season. Did last season's shortened season, which obviously came to an end pretty early, did that help you in regards to go, okay, 2021 was a bit of a, I guess, trial and error sort of thing, going to 2020 to know, okay, these are the things we need to improve on to get to where the top teams are?
I think we maybe, but I think for us, we've had a real shift in our squad. Like we probably had, after having those couple of seasons of COVID, cutting it short and things like that, I think a few of our girls, older girls and more experienced girls, decided to call it quits and sort of move on with life, because that's what happens. So we've sort of rebuilt a squad there, and we do have some old heads there and some people who are, like your Maddie Taylor, who's played 100 games. We also have built around that with lots of newbies as well, and some of those have come up through the pathway of 23s and stuff like that. And so I think for us, if you compare us to NSU, who've been together for a while and have quite a squad that have stuck by each other for a couple of years, we look very different in that regard. So I feel like the start of this year was more about, yes, definitely looking at what the top teams do and going, okay, how do you become a top team? But also building our own sort of legacy as well. And really trying to make that our brand and our way of the future.
So let's talk a bit about your netball journey. Where did you all start and why did you choose it?
Oh, gosh. So I grew up in a little town called Glen Innes in the Northern Inland. Yeah. And probably started coaching because my mum coached, I guess. I don't know. And, it was just what we did all the time. It was just netball. So I also just love working with kids, and I think it's so rewarding. I just love every part of it. So, then sort of started in the academy pathway with the Northern Inland Academy of Sport, and then went on a bit of a journey there and started doing some stuff with New South Wales 17s and 19s, and then crossed paths with Amber a few times in different spaces, and she sort of said, when you move here, come and coach with me. And then, so moved down to Newcastle and straight away was like, righto, Amber, let's go. And got on board with her and haven't looked back, just absolutely love it. And it's so great being in the space, the whole hard space, whether it's 23s or opens, just the whole thing's really cool. And Premier League is such a high level netball. It's just really cool to coach, and it's really cool to see how much growth you can get from your athletes while you're working with them in that whole season. It's amazing.
Oh, any netball highlights for yourself?
Oh, I mean, this is definitely going to be one of them. I sort of had been saying to Amber for a few weeks that because I also am the head coach of the 23s as well, and we made finals as well. But I said to her, whatever happens, if I'm not in a grand final, I'm going to watch it because I want to see what it's all about, and I guess prepare for if I ever were to be in it, like what I would need to do and what it would look like and those sorts of things. And now I get to actually go and do it in this way, which is just amazing. I'm just so excited, and it's brilliant. And I get to sit beside her great mind and learn from that too, which is, it's going to be a definite highlight in my life. Absolutely.
What does the sport of netball mean to you, and especially being part of Central Coast? Even though I know you mentioned a bit of it about 2 questions ago.
I just love netball. I think, it's, my family often joke that it's probably the priority, I guess. It's probably the most loved thing. I don't know. So I think it's, my kids obviously are, but my husband would definitely say that it's above him, and he's probably right. Like, let's be real. It's very important in my life, and I just love all of it. I love the relationships you build with the players. I love the fact that you can influence them and you can grow them, and they can move on and play at higher levels and achieve the goals they want to achieve. But also I just think the fact that you just get to influence them as people, and they get to, you watch them become these fabulous humans that become doctors or lawyers or I don't know, whatever they want to be. And I think even possibly netball coaches as well later. And you just think, I've just had a little part of that, and that's really cool. And I think in the heart space, I love what we're creating. Like, I just think we have such a really good culture of really integrating our 23s and our opens together, and making sure our opens are, I guess, leaving a really strong legacy for the 23s, and showing the intent and intensity and work ethic and dedication that's required to be successful, like they have been, in terms of like making grand finals consistently and winning premiership and things like that. And I think that's really cool for the 23s to see and learn from, and feel comfortable with asking questions and being around. And I know my 23s, like, I just love being around the opens, and the praise that they get from them and stuff like that just makes their day, because they're older and smarter and better netballers. And when they can acknowledge that those girls are doing something good or working hard, it's just really cool for them as well. And I think that's a nice little high five to them. And it's great that the opens are love doing that too.
Any future ambitions in the sport of netball, other than obviously winning on the weekend?
I mean, I think I don't know if I have, like, I think everyone's dream would be, if someone's going to say you can coach for the Diamonds, I'm there. Okay, that's fine. But I mean, I think in the short term, it's probably just continuing down this pathway with heart, and just, like I said, having success in terms of, winning grand finals, winning premierships, but probably more importantly, just having players that you build up and can be picked into, like, SSN teams and academies like Swifts and Giants and things like that. I think that's probably how I would check, measure my goals and say what I was doing well and what I need to, like what I've achieved. I think just having girls come out better players is probably the most important thing in terms of my goals.
So what would be your advice to people, especially there in the Central Coast or in the Hunter area, that should get involved in netball?
Gosh, do it. I think, like the friendships you get, the connections you build is just priceless. And I think, I'm a big advocate for join whatever sport you love, though. I don't think it has to be netball. I think, if you want to go down the path of AFL or whatever it is, then absolutely do it. I just think sport's just so important in people's lives, and to stay healthy, both mentally, physically, that's the priority. And I think, find something that you enjoy and absolutely stick to it, and just see where it takes you, and enjoy every moment.
Let's finish up with a couple of light-hearted questions about, I guess, the squad, considering, you just mentioned that you're the head coach of the 23s team as well. Any embarrassing moments that's happened by anyone in the Opens or the 23s this season, and what was it?
I don't know if there's too many embarrassing ones. I mean, Maddie Miller's always good for a falcon. Like, she's head all the time.
Yes.
Oh, there was a nice photo that just came out from our opposition from the other week where it's just Eliza's bum cheeks out everywhere. So I think she's actually proud of that one. So I'm not really sure whether that's embarrassing or not. But we were sort of like, oh, okay, that's an interesting photo to pick, and trying to make fun of her. But Eliza loves a good yeah, she's very confident, so she's okay with it. We also had we had a bit of an ugly shirt night. It was dressed to unimpress, I think. So we had to buy each other some ugly shirts. So that would have there's definitely some embarrassing photos from that of, just all different kinds of things that were pretty classic. And some grandma shirts and our S&C coach is a man, and we dressed him up in like an old ladies' nightie and stuff like that. So some good moments there of those sorts of things that I think have given us a laugh in those hard weeks, I guess, where you're in a bit of a grind.
Who's the comedian, the best singer, and internet TikToks?
Oh, it's probably Eliza, really, for TikToks. And I don't know about singing. I think Erin's got a really good singing voice. Erin Asquith. I think comedian wise, look, if I don't even want to say it because she thinks she's funny, but Sammy Chicken gives us a laugh. She's definitely a strange critter, but we love her. But she's different.
And I'm pretty sure she actually said that on my show already. So
yeah. I hate that I had to give her a shout out there, but she probably the criteria are the best.
Do you have a pre-game superstition or ritual for yourself?
Not really. I think Amber and I traveled together, so I wouldn't say it's like a superstition or anything. I think we enjoy each other's company, but we definitely make a bit of a routine of it where we go and get a coffee and I don't know, we do a bit of trivia, and we do just, I guess, things that can keep your mind off the night, really, so you're not overthinking anything. So we do some trivia or some I don't know, like what if games and stuff like that. We just search them up and do some funny things that give us a laugh, and I'm not sure if other people find them funny, but it puts us in a good mood. So
I have to ask this one. Now you mentioned about the shirt a moment ago. So who's copped that the most this year?
We all had an ugly shirt for that one.
Okay.
We all got given a different one, and we all had to wear it. So I don't think anyone kept theirs. So I don't think they were nice enough. I think everyone did a good job. Like, really not pretty.
We'll finish with these last two, which is for people up in the Central Coast that are thinking about coming down to your grand final and support the team down there at Kenra as well. What will be your advice to them? And is that too late to book a seat on that bus?
No, they keep advertising that it's still available, so absolutely not. I mean, I think what a great way to spend your Saturday night. I think it's going to be a very physical, athletic, high scoring. They've got, both teams have really strong shooters game. So I think if you're looking for a really exciting game of netball, I think Saturday night Central Coast Heart versus NSU is going to be where it's at.
I have to finish with this lighthearted one. Now, we mentioned about embarrassing. Any silly or funny moments or that has ever happened?
There's something every week, honestly. I mean, even just like Monday night, like Dakota was like, couldn't find her car keys, and everyone had to search the bag for their car keys, and then it was in her ignition of her car. And Brooklyn was like, I'm gonna go and check your ignition. And she was like, no, it's not there. And then, she comes back in sheepishly and says, yeah, I've found my keys. And we're like, where was it? And she's like, in my car, in my ignition. And you're just like, oh. So I feel like every session has something like that. We're not even shocked by it anymore. It's just like, okay, there we go again. Yeah.
Kirstie, thank you so much for giving up your time to join us. It's awesome having you on the show. From all of us here at Smash FM, we've been a huge supporter of the Central Coast Heart during these interviews throughout the season. Best of luck against NSU this weekend, which obviously is different to your normal netball game, of course, throughout the season. But can't wait to watch that game from down here in Melbourne on the live stream. And hope so it all goes well. And We'll be supporting the Mighty Heart from down here in Melbourne.
Thank you.
No worries. And that's Kirstie Fuller there, joining us from the Central Coast Heart, of course, assistant coach of the Opens team, who will be playing in the grand final of the Premier League competition up in New South Wales, of course, against North Shore United there at Ken Roswell Arena. And we'll put all the details up on how you can get tickets for that game. There's more on the Smash Sports Show right after this. Don't go away here on the 10th year celebration.